Addiction thinks in circles, whereas invention thinks in spirals.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I
Yes.
love it. And spiral is not one dot, it's actually one seed becoming bigger and bigger and bigger
Mhm.
and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So I'm grateful for that. And then two, just the pain just reminding me like this body is so amazing.
Where else can you go
Hmm.
other than inside? And
Hmm.
when you're so almost like forced to face yourself, you find lots of love. Just 2 seconds ago, there was a statement that we both agreed on, and we said we're just full of shit. And you suggested we opened with it. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the Jinky 17th.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
July 21st. And we're full of
July
shit.
21st. Um, yeah, when you're dealing with opinion, it's like one of the truest statements is just we're all full of shit. A nice parallel that came up for me in like reading this was Carly and I have had a disagreement over the last 6 months about supplements, about like what to include in our diets as a family and what not to. And she's like super natural, like everything has to be the purest organic, and I'm like, this was cheaper, so I got it. And then she's like, what about this ingredient? And I'm like, well, they've done studies on it and there's no real. And then we just go back and forth, and then we both get to a point of just like, does this really fucking matter? Like, does it like, but it's interesting because it's not either or. Again, with this one, reminds me of the 1+1. You include the perspective of the relationship and you get three. It reminds me of that in a way. Like you have, red versus blue, the very um timely opinion to put out there, but you have the perspective of both, of the higher perspective, and then the ability to kind of transcend, but it doesn't mean like higher than the opinions themselves. It just means like the way I interpret it is like move away from or move outside of and just have a view and then still,
Mm.
and there's an element too of like still participating. Like it's not about totally escaping opinions and judgments of the world, more about using them in a way that's in harmony, I think.
Mm. Mm. I like how you opened it because I think we have a different opinions about it. Voila! Surprise!
Well, I'm just full of shit, so you go.
I mean, you're full of shit on this side. I'm full of shit on this side. That doesn't make us different. Hence, we are the same. And that's the point. That's exactly the point. The paradoxical way of looking at it, having any statement.
Mhm.
But it's just like you said, it's like perspective. What you call perspective, I would call the angle and how you actually look at it. Do you look at it as I, as the center of it that gives this, embarks the orders? Or do you look at it as something else? Well, yourself is here and you're not really identifying with it. And I know I'm talking a little bit of abstract way, but it's more like, oh, but you're not identifying yourself with it. And because so, you're completely giving a different message.
Mhm.
But let's dissect it. So we have shadow of opinion, and then gift of far-sightedness, and then CD of omniscience. And we'll dissect the opinion. And this shadow is do you have this key, by the way? You
I
don't. I
don't
glanced you
know.
Why do I ask you? Because I know. But anyone else has this that you know?
Jace has it. My
Ooh, and
my
what?
middle child.
And what key?
He has 17.
And
In
what?
his sphere of attraction.
Oh, oh, beautiful. I love how he calls these two 17th of opinion and judgment of 18th shadow power,
Mhm.
because it's the only thing that separates us from all other species. And I just highlighted it and I was like, wow, what a twist of way of thinking, because it is the power. It's just the power that uses us rather than us actually using it in a
Mhm.
different way. So that's
Mhm.
the angle. It's like rather than us allowing us to, that's so much power to use us on the shadow level, we are stuck. And if we change the angle or perspective where we take over the power and operate under the gift, totally different story.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm.
and when you use angle, it makes me think of light and like light hitting a prism and then being refracted into a rainbow, like the visible spectrum.
Hmm.
Like when you're out of the way and you allow it to come through you, it can like properly do its thing. But
Mm-hmm.
often what we do is we hold up a mirror and we try to direct it, try to like point
Mm-hmm.
it.
True. That's how it feels. So I have opinions too. And reading this gift really opened me a lot. And in a matter of being humble, that I am so not fucking perfect. That even if I was at this side and then suddenly I become this side, and I'll just give you the example. And I find myself doing this lately actually, at this etap or stage of my life. This is how I'm operating. And this gift, this key just opened my eyes to awareness of it. Ooh, actually. So I sit here and I'm like, wait, I used to have the opinion about this.
Mhm.
And I used to think it's all law of the attraction or law of manifestation of something that I need to know, that I have grip over or I control. And I was so on that side. It's like, yeah, I control my life. I control my dharma. I control my karma. I can do everything and I can fix my life.
Mhm.
But hence we all operate on it. It's like this like left brain way of thinking that we are in control of something. So lately I've been thinking, as you know, Pulaski, and I'm like, wait a minute, but what if I don't want to control this? And what if there's a law of randomness? And I told you this last time.
Mhm.
And if everything operates under them just because, there's no reason, it doesn't matter if you did so much work and 55 trips of ayahuasca and did all these like journeys and came back and did all work, spiritual work, and really how many workshops did you do? But what if you're just chosen just because the universe wants you to, or it does not? You just happen to like toss the ball and the ball just hits you, or like, you know, the shit just falls on your head from the bird. This is also the opinion. This is what Jinky actually told me. I thought I'm getting rid of this way of thinking of control. And I'm like, but I now believe and want to not control anything with it. I want to believe that there is a law of randomness. This is also the opinion. It literally puts me right the opposite of what I believed I did. Now I believe I'm doing something totally else. But the feeling of it is that I know the way out. And somehow I'm special because I just came with the epiphany that there is the way out. Also, the opinion. So it was
Mhm.
really a slap in the face to really feel this when I read it. And I was like, wow. So either way you go, you are born with opinion, because there's this deep underlying programming that it's literally you're living in. We are living in. So who am I to say anything? Who am I to even make the sense of both sides, logical and chaotic side? Who am
Mhm.
I? Why me? So that was my 2 cents. I was like, wow, I have to bring this vulnerable, humble, or whatever, just awareness or realization. And I think it just hit me
Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
real hard. Yeah.
Bringing it full circle from last week.
Mm.
Um, hmm. But it still feels important to be experiencing the swinging, like this the swinging pendulum, right? It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it was that brought you away from the extremes, just that you went into it fully and and had an experience. And then now it's like whatever this next thing is where you're at now, where you're like, oh, I'm full of shit, without fully going into it and like claiming it and putting it out on a podcast and talking about it and telling people about it and being like, I know the way. You might have come across something like this and just been, and maybe it didn't hit as deeply, right? And I think too, it's like, again, moving from head to heart, like it really has to hurt a little bit, and in the way of seeing how we trap ourselves with our head for us to
Yeah.
be able to release on a deeper level.
Yeah. And this part is the best. I laughed at it because this shadow, whenever we're in opinion, we have this like expectation. How I understood it, it's like expectation.
Mm.
Like this is my opinion. So this way, on this side, it's like you almost there's this force that innate need for you to save the world because you know better, and it's like just follow me because I know, I know. And on this side, it's like you don't want to fucking save anyone. You just want to free them,
Yeah.
but still it's for others and you, and it's serious business, right? It's like
Hmm.
it gets
Yeah.
you. If you don't get anywhere, you have this expectation and you kind of get like disappointed, kind of. There's
Hmm.
like this sort of like, oh, I mean, I see nothing from this side and I see no progress from this side, and you kind of get disappointed and you take it so seriously and personally. Less more on this side than on this side. I
Hmm.
admit it because I feel like it doesn't matter on this side. Here it matters a lot in personal. Here it's more like we're all doomed anyway, or we're all growing, or we're all evolving, or we're all something.
Hmm.
But it's the two opposite side of it. And how do we get to the fun part of it? The point of this really is to not take it seriously and to move from shadow to gift, is to really fucking have some fun and
Hmm.
belly laugh, because it's a funny, funny, funny life.
Hmm.
It's a funny life.
Yeah, so interesting. And it too, it's almost like when you're believing in the manifestation side that you can control everything, there's more expectations. And then you moved into like randomness, which actually is less head centered and less about expectations. But if you're thinking that I figured it out, then there are the subtle expectations beneath it of maybe not an outcome, but like how people might view you, something like that. Um,
Yeah.
and then we land in this like, okay, I'm full of shit, not like woe is me, I'm full of shit, like or like I'm worthless.